Hi everyone, happy Thursday. I'm here to read the next two chapters of Twister on Tuesday. So chapter 7 is called Twister. So I think we're going to find out more about why this book is called Twister on Tuesday. All right, here we go. Chapter 7, Twister. The black clouds had taken on an odd greenish color. They all seemed to be going in different directions. Do you think it's a grasshopper attack? Annie asked nervously. No, I think it's some more weird weather like that hailstorm, said Jack. Let's go before it gets worse. As they started back to the treehouse, the wind picked up. Jack and Annie looked over their shoulders. The greenish clouds had dipped down close to the prairie. I feel like something awful is about to happen, said Annie. Hurry, said Jack. Run. He and Annie started running through the grass. When they got to the ladder of the treehouse, they looked back. In the distance, twisting black clouds had dropped out of the storm clouds. They were swirling into a funnel shape. The dark funnel started twisting across the prairie. Jack's heart nearly jumped out of his chest. It's a twister, he said. Oh no, cried Annie. The twister was whirling and tearing across the grass. So I don't think any of us have seen a tornado in person, but it's a pretty scary idea to be that close to a tornado. Makes me nervous. Let's get out of here, said Jack. He grabbed the rope ladder and started up. Wait, said Annie, we have to help Miss Neely and the other kids. They have a storm cellar, Jack said. That's what our book said. Yeah, but it's only their first day in the dugout. They might not know about it, said Annie. There was a rug on the floor. Annie's right, Jack thought. He looked up at the treehouse. All they had to do was climb up and leave, and they'd be safe. But what about Miss Neely? What about Will, Kate, and Jeb? Okay, said Jack. He jumped down from the ladder. Let's go back. He and Annie started running back toward the schoolhouse. They ran as fast as they could across the prairie. The roaring sound of the twister followed them. Suddenly, the wind threw them to the ground. Jack clutched the tall grass, trying to stand. When he got up, he grabbed Annie's hand. He pulled her up, too. With all his might, Jack held on to Annie and pulled her along. The roaring twister came closer and closer. The wind ripped up grass and earth around them. The roar grew deafening. Jack and Annie could barely stay on their feet. Finally, they reached the dugout. They tried to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. They banged on the door with their fists. Let us in, Annie shouted. No one opened the door. They can't hear us, yelled Jack. But the sound of the twister drowned out his voice. Chapter 8, Get Below. Suddenly, the schoolhouse door blew off its hinges. It went flying through the air. Jack grabbed Annie and pulled her into the dugout. Inside, the benches were overturned. The room was a mess. Miss Neely and the three kids were pressed against the dirt wall. Kate and Will screamed as the winds whipped around the room. Miss Neely hugged Kate. Jeb held on to Will. Get in the cellar, Jack yelled. What cellar? Shouted Miss Neely. Together, Jack and Annie pulled the rug off the floor and uncovered the cellar door. They grabbed the door and tried to open it, but the wind was blowing too hard. Suddenly, Jeb was beside them. He pulled the door open. A ladder led down into the cellar. One by one, Will, Kate, Miss Neely, and Annie went down the ladder. Jack waited for Jeb to go down. Go, go, Jeb shouted. Jack climbed down into the cellar. It's really good that Jack and Annie went to go help them, right? They didn't know there was a cellar to keep them safe. So helpful. Jeb came last. He closed the door behind him, leaving everyone in total darkness. The twister roared fiercely above them. It sounded like a train barreling right through the schoolhouse. As the twister roared and howled, Jack couldn't think. He couldn't feel. He was totally swept up in the howl of the wind. Then, just as Jack felt he would disappear in the roar of the twister, the noise died down, and then it was silent. No one spoke for a moment in the blackness. Then Annie broke the silence. "Are we still alive?" she whispered. Everyone laughed. "Yes, I think we are," said Miss Neely. Chapter 9 is called All Clear. Phew, that was a little bit of a nerve-wracking chapter. But I'm glad that they're all safe, and I'm glad that Jack and Annie were brave enough to go and help Miss Neely and the other children to make sure that they were safe too. All right, tomorrow is Friday, and I'll finish up Twister on Tuesday by reading chapters 9 and 10 with you then, and we'll find out what happens when Jack and Annie go home. And I think they have, is it their last writing? I can't remember. Let's see. Nope, it's only number 3. So after this, they have one more special writing to find. So I can't wait to see how this story ends, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.